Welcome back or welcome to my channel. My name is Taylor and today we'll be ranking 50 romance movies in time for Valentine's Day. But before I begin, remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you love all things pop culture. So I did say that this year we were going to try and expand beyond just the music niche that I've kind of dug myself into because the name of this channel is Tailor-Made Pop Culture, not Tailor-Made Music. We did kind of venture a little bit out there with our High School Musical soundtrack ranking last week in honor of 20 years. If you haven't seen that one yet, it'll be linked somewhere on the screen or in the description box down below. But today we're going to explore my love for Valentine's Day. It's one of my favorite holidays, mainly just because pink is my favorite color. I love all things super girly, and I love me a good romance movie. And I've put together a list of 50 romance movies that I've seen either recently or in the past that I have something to say about. And yes, there are 50. Now, I will say it's been a moment since I've seen some of these films, so if you feel the need to correct me on some of my plot points, if I bring them up incorrectly, you can say that in the comments down below. Just be nice. If you don't see some of the iconic or some of your favorite romance movies, it's probably because I haven't seen them or I just forgot to put them on this list. And we can make this an annual thing, so please leave in the comments down below all the romance movies that you want to see me rank next year. But I have rom-coms, I have romantic tragedies, I have romantic dramas, I have paranormal fantastical romances, and everything in between to jump into. So I guess without further ado, let's hop into our tiers. So let's go through all of my tiers. The top tier is my God tier, my personal preferences. These are the movies that no matter what, I will always go back to. Now, does this mean they are the best, most iconic, most watchable romance movies of all time? No, I will say sometimes I do like a bit of a cheap, cheesy movie, but these are just the movies that I would like to put in my God tier. Then the second one is solid, iconic, no notes. These are movies that they are iconic for a reason. They are loved for a reason, and I do think they should be watched. Then my third tier is probably reserved for our dramas and our tragedies. Movies that are designed to inflict emotional damage, and there's a few. There's a few on here that just want to, stab you in the heart. Then we have good but toxic. These are the movies that if you're looking for that toxic situationship and everything in between, that's what you go to. Then we have Does the Job. This is really just our mid-tier of like, I don't have a lot to say about it other than, you know what? It is a romance movie. Then I Question Many Things. This is the category where I'm like, there's lots of things that occurred in this film that confuse me, confound me, or make me frustrated. So you're not like, does the job. You in fact, instead of making me feel the feels, you make me feel the things that I never wish I did. Then we have This Was Never Meant for Me. You know how some movies are meant to be? These are the movies that just feature things that was just never going to be up my alley. These are all the movies that for some reason I have personal beef with, that I'm sure someone out there likes or that a lot of people like, but they were just never meant to be for me. Then I reserve the last one for jail, because there are some movies on here that in fact do belong in jail for the things that they've done and the things that they have made us watch. All right, we're starting off with bangers. Falling in Love. Falling in Love is a Netflix movie about a woman who enters a win and in contest in New Zealand, and she wins the end, and when she arrives there, she realizes that she's going to have to put a lot more TLC into this place in order to get it up and running and to get a return on investment. So she enlists the town, like carpenter, woodworker, whatever he does to help her make it. The only problem is they've kind of been butting heads the entire time they're there. This is just one of those Netflix rom-com films that I have watched so many times. I've recently rewatched it this year. It's solid. I mean, I kind of rated about 4 stars, but I never said my taste was 5-star worthy. So, and then another my God tier, as the Disney Channel girly that I am, Starstruck. This movie is God tier for the reason that it features my most favorite romance song of all time, and that is Hero. Plus, this is basically cosplaying every, one of them is famous fan fiction of basically girl who's like, you know, not like other girls, which I don't love that trope, but we'll let it slide for the time. She's not like other girls. She's not that into Christopher Wilde, but she accidentally runs into him one night, and by happenstance, they keep meeting up and they develop feelings. But of course, because of the fame and the fortune, things get in the way. Then we have Clueless. Clueless. Solid, iconic, no notes. Is it my god tier? No. Is it questionable that she may be falling in love with her former stepbrother? Now, you'll see me talk about step-sibling trope. However, as far as I'm aware, in the movie, at some point, they were step-siblings for like a brief moment when they were teenagers, but their parents split, so they're no longer step-siblings. So I guess in my head, I let that one slide. So yeah. To all the boys I've loved before. Yes, yes. Love this. Now, you will see that there are a couple like romantic film series on here, like To All the Boys. However, I'm only going to rank the first one. If you want me to rank sequels, we can do that next year. I love Lara Jean and Peter Kavinsky. This whole world is so beautiful. And like everyone else in the fandom, I am waiting with bated breath for XO Kitty Season 3 announcement, because we know it's coming out this year. We just haven't gotten an announcement date. Ooh, another. I must have, when I made this list, put my favorites near the top. Set it up. Zoe Deutsch, Glenn Powell, Lucy Liu, what is his name? Tay Diggs. All an exceptional cast. Workplace, you know what, like Friends to Lovers. Beautiful. I think we all, as a collective, can agree that Set It Up is one of the favorites. Oh, our first one in emotional damage. Eternity is pitched to you as a rom-com. Seeing as it deals with a woman who's trying to decide whether or not she wants to spend her entire afterlife with her husband of 65 years, or the husband that she lost to the war 2 years into their marriage and never got a chance to know what would happen. Yeah. Not only was I crying for the second half of this film, I kept crying as I was leaving the theater. If you want something that just makes you feel everything all at once, yes. And this is a love triangle done right, in my opinion. People we meet on vacation. Do I say good but toxic, or does the job? I'm going to say it does the job. This is the most recent rom-com added to the list. We're following Poppy and Alex, who've been best friends since college, and they have had this pact that in order to stay in touch, each year they will go on a vacation together. And throughout this relationship, they both, you know, kind of have feelings for each other, even though they never acknowledge it, while they are also dating other people in between. And, you know, that's where the toxic can kind of come in, because it's just like, you're in love with your best friend, babes. Why are you still leading this girl on from high school? But yeah, she was cute. She was sweet. She did the job. She's not a favorite. My Oxford year. I'm going to put this in I question many, many things. This is based off a book, and I knew the plot of the book before I went into the movie, so I knew it was going to happen. But you're following a girlie who's decided to go follow her dream to go to Oxford and study literature. And while she's there, she falls for the TA, I guess, for the class, only to find out, spoiler alert, if you don't want it, skip ahead a few seconds, that he has a basically lethal cancer, I think what it is, but a lethal disease that's going to cause him to die in a few months of their relationship. And things go from there. All I know is that everything about this relationship made me question so many things. Yeah, I particularly love the scene where they kiss for the first time, and they're like, you know what, it's too far to my place. And she's like, let's get it on in this very tiny, very compact car for two very not short people. All right, anyone but you. How shall I say this? I probably would have ranked it higher before Sydney Sweeney did all of her stupid shit. And frankly, I might put this in jail, but Glenn Powell still exists, and as far as I know, he's in good books. But Anyone But You is following two people that met one night, sort of had a one-night stand, and then through some series of miscommunications, they kind of grow to loathe each other, only to find out that one of their sisters and one of their best friends is engaged to be married. So now they have to endure each other at this destination wedding. And of course, while they're there, they decide to fake date to get people off their backs. And of course, romance ensues from there. But Sydney Sweeney is, no. No, 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 no. Then we have The Notebook. Shall we put you, it did make me cry. Good but toxic does fit. I'm going to put it in good but toxic. You know what? Allie and Noah, their relationship, now it's been a hot second since I've seen this, is beautiful. It makes you want to cry. But it's just like there's a lot of things that are going on inside of it that be like, ooh, like, sir, do not threaten to hurt yourself. Like, do not threaten to hurt yourself for the relationship. Like, honey, you're kind of cheating on your fiance. Just saying. So, yeah. Oh, we have our first jail. It ends with us, Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, despite everything that went on in that court case, and I'm not going to state my sides, but I think the world can figure out where I fall on that side. I knew what the book was about. I knew what the movie was going to be about. However, the way it displayed domestic violence is questionable. The way it went about its marketing campaign for that and how it didn't prepare with it, just there's a lot that went on with this movie that was trying to tackle a hard topic but did not do it in a successful or graceful way. And for that reason, therefore it goes in jail. The Wrong Paris does the job. This is a Netflix movie from last year that follows a girlie who's trying to live out her dream of going to art school in Paris. The only problem is that the money that she had saved, she spent on her grandmother's healthcare expenses. So she learns that she might be able to get a trip to Paris if she joins this reality dating TV show, only to find out that instead of going to Paris, France, they're going to Paris, Texas, about an hour away from where she lives. And of course, while she's on this show trying to figure out how to get the money to go to Paris, she starts falling for the Bachelor, and things ensue from there. She's fun, she's cute, she's sweet, she did her thing. The Proposal, same. Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock. I can't remember much about the plot of this movie. Now, I purposely did not choose Christmas holiday rom-coms. However, I can't remember if this is going for that. But if I'm correct, he agrees to be fake engaged to his boss who needs a green card. And then they must go home for some reason to Canada or whatever, wherever they're going, to meet the family. So yeah, it's been a minute. But still, she did the job. She does the thing. Crush. Question many things. Does the job. Question. No. Is it good but toxic? Actually, yeah, let's put her in good but toxic. This is, I think, our only true sapphic entry into this list. Now, I will say for Pride Month, we will do a nice, beautiful, queer-centric, like, tier ranking, and you can leave down below what you want me to do there. But you're following this girl who's like an out and proud lesbian at her high school. And many people believe that she is the like radical like protest artist that's been tagging their school. So much so that her principal is like, threatening. I don't know what he's threatening to do, but he's threatening, I think, to either expel her or take action against her. So she is set out on a mission to find this artist. The only problem is that she is kind of torn between a crush and a hard place, and that she has a crush on Gabby, one of the sisters, who's out and proud, I think lesbian or bisexual. But she's also working with Gabby's sister, who's also out and proud bisexual, to figure out who this person is. And of course, romance between the two sisters. I always say stop dipping in the same gene pool if you want to, but it's a fun sapphic time. She's the man. You know what? I can't remember too much about the movie other than solid iconic, no notes. So, yeah. I don't know what our thoughts are on Amanda Bynes and Channing Tatum nowadays. I mean, Amanda kind of went down a spiral, and I do hope she's getting the help she needs. And then Channing Tatum, I haven't heard much about him nowadays. But essentially, you're following a girl who dresses up as a boy and enters into the boys' soccer team. And then romance ensues between her and her roommate, I think. Yeah. Boarding school. Actually, there's another Amanda Bynes movie, What a Girl Wants. I should have put that on here. Okay, next year. Oh, We have our next entry into emotional damage. Me Before You. This is going to be like Eternity, where I want to experience that again, but I absolutely do not want to feel that again. Me Before You is based on a book, and we are following a woman who is hired on as the personal caretaker for this paraplegic man who, you know, after basically his entire life was taken away from him, he feels, after he's hit by a car and he loses, you know, mobility in the majority of his body, is kind of just like hates life and hates everyone around him. And she is the pure ball of sunshine to his grumpy, and she is determined to make him love life again, even if he doesn't want to. And it's their romance between the two of them. However, if you have watched this film and you know the ending, oh my god, it's one of the greatest romance movies of all time, in my opinion. Is it a favorite of mine? Yes, but I mean, I need to put it in emotional damage because I need to warn you all. Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast needs to go in solid, iconic, no notes. Is this coming from a monster girly? Yes. Monster romance girly? Absolutely. But it is the blueprint for a reason for a lot of movies, and it needs to go there. It is not my favorite Disney princess movie, but yeah. Never Been Kissed. Oh, babes. Oh, babes. I question so many things. This is an iconic movie. It is 90s, early 2000s, I can't remember. With Drew Barrymore following a girl who was kind of a geek outcast in high school, who is now a journalist trying to get her big break. So she is sent back to high school to act as a high school student and kind of learn what life is like now. The only problem is that while she is there, not only is she gaining the popularity that she never had, she also is falling for one of the high school teachers, and while she knows that she's of age, I'm quite sure this man does not know that she's of age until the end. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. I know there's a lot of people who like this movie. It's just, I must question some things. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Solid, iconic, no notes. Is it my personal favorite? No. Does it kind of lean into a lot of stereotypes, not like other girls? Yes. But is it an icon of the early 2000 rom-com genre? Absolutely. Kate Hudson, Matthew McConaughey. We're following Kate Hudson, who is pitching a new column at the journal that she works for, trying to get out of writing sort of these listicles that kind of focus on more vapid things, or at least things that she thinks are vapid. And she basically says that I can teach you exactly how to lose a guy in 10 days. So she enters into a relationship with someone that she thinks she can easily lose in 10 days. And then we go from there. We have the iconic yellow dress moment. And yeah, I understand why this is a lot of people's favorites. Red, white, and royal blue. I understand. I love the book. And while the book is better, Red, White, and Royal Blue is in fact a comfort film at this point. Like, it is a rewatchable film that I hit up every year. I will be rewatching it on Valentine's Day. No ifs, ands, or buts. We are following the first son of the U.S., Alex, and the first prince of, no, the second prince of England, or whatever, he's a prince of England, Henry, and we're following their rivals to lovers situation where they start out kind of bumping heads, creating a scene at the royal wedding, and they are forced to enter into a PR friendship that turns into much more behind the scenes. So yeah, if you've watched Heated Rivalry and you're looking for something to move on to, go there. We have another jail. Oh, another Nicholas Gallen entry. One was at the very top and one is at the very bottom. Purple Hearts. The entire time I'm watching this movie, I'm like, you know, Sophia Carson, love the music. She did a good job with the music. However, every time I think of the music, it's tainted by the fact that this film, the entire time you're watching it, is just like, how did this get green light in this day and age? And it did come out in 2020, but even then, like, it's worse. It's even worse looking upon it now, but even then it was really bad. So you're following a girlie who is broke. She has type 1 diabetes. She can't afford her medication. She's a struggling artist, and she decides to enter into a fake marriage with an officer, army officer, whatever he is, in order to gain government health care services. The only problem is that these two are opposites in every meaning of the word, and that's including politically, where he is like conservative and says some really awful, terrible things and does some terrible things throughout the movie, and she is very much so supposed to be bleeding heart liberal, and it's basically trying to portray the message of like, we can get over our differences no matter what, and I'm just gonna say that is not a message that is really well received. There's a lot of shit that's stupid in this film. By the end of the film, I was like spending the whole film thinking like, oh, so like she's gonna help him see the light, and she never did. And frankly, no, 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 and jail for what you made me endure. Valentine's Day. Listen, I may be amongst the only people who loves these kind of like ensemble cast like films that they did with like Valentine's Day, New Year's Eve, Mother's Day. But I think it's fun. It's cute. If you're just looking for a cute little time, go watch it. The Hating Game. You know what? She's solid. Solid, iconic, no notes. I don't know. I am tempted to put her in my god tier. I just don't know. I need to give her a moment, a second in time. Like, I need to go back and rewatch and see how I feel. This is based on a book that I haven't read, and I know a lot of people who have read the book, like, are kind of torn on how they feel about the movie. But in terms of, like, delivering a classic rom-com, It's Always Been You, workplace, rivals to lovers situation, solid. I think it delivers if you're looking for a good rom-com, go get it. Afterlife of the Party. How do I feel about you? Do I think you're emotional enough to be emotional damage? Good but toxic, or does... I'm going to go with does the job. We are following a party girl who dies the night of her birthday for some unforeseen circumstances, and she's basically given a second chance at heaven if she gets to go back and help her best friend in life, you know, succeed and so on and so forth. She's helping her best friend come out of her shell, and while she is back on this, you know, tour of trying to fix the things in her life, she also mends her relationship with her dad, her father, so on and so forth. Yeah, it is emotional, so do keep an eye out for that, but surprisingly, this is not the only romance movie where we have a girlie coming back from the dead as a ghost to help someone out. It's a trope that for some reason has persisted. But yeah, Twilight. This was never meant for me, babes. This was never meant for me, babes. If you follow me on my book channel, you can probably figure out after these many times here how I've discovered in the last year or two, while I still will seek out a vampire romance to see if there's any that can really hit the way something like Interview with the Vampire hits with me, vampire romances just aren't my thing. So, yeah. 9 times out of 10, it will never work for me. Twilight, we're following Bella and Edward. There's a lot about this movie that I question. And I watched it when it first came out in theaters, and I have seen it since. And frankly put, it was never going to be up my alley. So, The Princess Diaries. Yeah. The Princess Diaries. Julie Andrews, Anne Hathaway. Princess Diaries 2 is my favorite, like a lot of people's, and I can't wait for Princess Diaries 3 to come out. Yeah, we're following Mia, who is a sort of awkward high school student who discovers one day that she is the princess of Genovia, a small country in a foreign land, and she is basically being brought in to be trained to announce that she will be the next in line to take the throne after her father has passed away that she never got to know. And of course, she's trying to struggle with this all on top of the new media scrutiny that she's under, but also because she kind of has a crush on her best friend's brother, and all the things that ensue from there. The first one isn't as romantic as the second one, but yeah. High School Musical. Obviously, 20 years of High School Musical. My god tier. This film just holds an iconic place in a lot of millennial and Gen Z hearts for what it did for our childhood nostalgia, the whole series, the whole franchise. Troy and Gabriella are just the most iconic couple on Disney Channel, or one of the most iconic couples on Disney Channel, and I think it's penetrated cultural zeitgeist in a way that no one could have ever expected. If you don't know about High School Musical, this is a Disney Channel original film following Troy, basketball player Bolton, and Gabriella, math girl, what is her last name? Actually, can't remember. But one night on vacation, they get thrust into a karaoke like contest or like open mic, and they're forced to sing together, and they think that's the end of that, until they come back to school and find out that Gabriella has transferred to East High where Troy's at, and while they're there they are torn between their two separate lives as, you know, the geek and the jock, and both wanting to join the high school musical and the romance that comes from that. So yeah, 13 going on 30. It's been a minute since I've seen it, but you know what? Solid iconic no notes. Honestly, given Mark Ruffalo and what he's been doing and saying recently, I think he deserves all the praise in the world. You're following a girlie who's best friends with this kid when they're 13, and during, like, I don't know if it was like a 7 minutes in heaven or situation at her 13th birthday, they're shoved into a closet and it kind of goes awkward. So when she is given her birthday candles, she wishes for 30, flirty, and thriving. So then she wakes up the next day as 30-year-old her and everything that transpired after that. And realizing that she may have feelings for her best friend. So yeah, solid, iconic. 10 things I hate about you. Whoo! R.I.P. Heath Ledger. R.I.P. Heath Ledger. Obviously, this is a Shakespeare retelling. And actually, I can't remember the characters' names. I might need to go back and rewatch it. It's a shock that I've remembered most of the characters' names in the movies that I have talked about, because I can remember plots really well, but character names, woo, that goes flat over my head. We are following our outcast feminist rocker girly at the school in the 90s, and in order for the, you know, cool guy to date her sister, he makes a deal with the other outcast bad boy at the school to essentially, you know, date her and bring her out of shell so that, you know, cool guy can get a chance at the, you know, sweet younger sister. And of course, this ends up striking up a romance between the two, realizing that they're both kind of outcast and they both kind of feel that way. And then there's the iconic singing on the field scene. So yeah, look both ways. I feel like she's underrated. Honestly, I'm gonna put her up there in my god tier. You're following a story told in two separate timelines. Basically, you're following a girl who has a one-night stand with one of her college friends, and the storyline takes off from there. Basically, this, you know, showing you what would have happened if she did end up pregnant after that one-night stand, and if she didn't. And you're following the two romance stories and the life circumstances that played out, basically saying that no matter what happens, life will be fine, no matter what choice you make, or whatever, like, life throws at you, you'll find your way. And I think it just is an underrated Netflix film. Lily Reinhart's in it. Our current Superman is in it. And also our current, what's his name? Joaquin in the, yeah. So I guess if you're a current Marvel girly, go check it out. The Longest Ride. So, like, I can't remember much about this movie, so I'm gonna put it in Does the Job. Does the job. I know Britt Robertson is in it, and there's a cowboy, and there is an old person. I actually did read this Nicholas Sparks book. It's just the problem with, like, Nicholas Sparks books is kind of colored by, like, the author himself now, who I don't have a lot of high opinions of. So, like, his movies in itself, I don't necessarily go to as much. A Cinderella Story. Hilary Duff making a comeback, bringing back early 2000s nostalgia. There's so many movies in the Cinderella Story, like, universe. Hilary Duff, we're following this girl who, you know, basically follows a Cinderella story. Her father has passed away. She spent her whole life dreaming about getting into Princeton because that's where princesses and princes go. And she's working at her father's diner, and she's sort of an outcast at school. But she is having this online, like, you know, virtual exchange with this guy that she thinks is someone else, only to find out that it is the, you know, head jock at her school. And of course, romance ensues from there. Woo, man, baby, love that, love that. And I'm back. It won't be that long for you, but yeah, my screen recorder only records for 30 minutes at a time, and we were approaching more than 30 minutes. So we have the last movies. Flipped. I feel like this is a movie that a lot of people have seen and like no one has seen at the same time. I also think this is a film very much so geared towards a much younger audience. We're following these two kids who are growing up basically across from each other on the same street, and she has had a crush on him since forever, and he's kind of always been like disgusted by it. She's sort of the outcast, the odd family school, and people just kind of look down on her. And he is the son of a very prestigious, like very well loved family. And they kind of go against each other for a very long time, until one day she kind of decides that she's going to give up on him at the moment that he decides that he wants her. And it's very sweet. It's very cute. Definitely for the younger audiences that watch here in that middle grade space, this one might be for you. So My Fault London, should I put it in jail for step siblings? Yes, this is a case where they are actively step siblings. No divorces, no separations have been taking place. They start getting into each other the moment she moves into his house. Now, I have not watched Mea Culpa, I must say. Is it entertaining? Is it messy as hell? Yes. I'm not putting in jail for the sheer fact that I do, in fact, think that a lot of y'all would be like, you're going to put it on the same level as those two? Maybe. So I will simply leave it there as step sibling romance. Not necessarily my thing. I know people are going to come at with me with Clueless, but it has been forever since I've seen Clueless. Legally Blonde. All right, to the top, to the tippity top. There's a Legally Blonde show coming out soon. I will be, in fact, watching for Elwoods. I feel like when I think of Legally Blonde, I don't automatically think romance, but there is a lot of romance to it. So yeah, as a girl who became a fashion major, I think Elle Woods helped color like my future prospects, my future ambitions. We're following Elle Woods, who is a basically like kind of ditzy blonde girl who's getting a degree in fashion, who is so determined to stay with her love, her boyfriend, who breaks up with her because he's looking for something serious. He's going to Harvard, that she applies to get into Harvard Law School. And while she is there, she basically rises the ranks and works her darndest to get to top of her class and realizes some new dreams and ambitions for herself. So yeah, so Challengers. Challengers. Good But Toxic was made for this. Why this comes up, when I think of Challengers, I don't think of a romance movie, although it is a movie that centers solely around the romantic relationships and dynamics between these three people, these three tennis players. So yeah, I love this film. It is a god tier moment, but it needs to go in toxic. It needs to go in toxic because the things that these people do to each other is so messed up that it's just like, okay. So if you don't know anything, you're following these two boys who are best friends, both trying to make it into the majors of hockey, not hockey, I'm still on heated rivalry, the majors of tennis. But also during one of their matches when they are young, 18 years old, they're infatuated with this very much so star tennis player, and they basically make a bet that whoever wins the tennis match between the two gets to date her. And basically everything goes from there. Lots of messiness ensues, lots of toxic, cheating, all that. So yeah, but I highly recommend the film. I don't know if you would go into it for romance, but yeah. The Life List. You know what, The Life List, actually, do I put this in emotional damage? I'm going to put that in emotional damage. This is a Netflix movie that came out last year and apparently is cited as motivating a lot of women to break up with their no-good boyfriends. And for that alone, I think, good for you. Sophia Babes, you star in a lot of films on Netflix that have gone a lot of different ways. But you are following this woman whose mother recently passed away, and she has spent her whole life thinking she's going to take over the family business. She's going to inherit the family house, only to find out that her mother has basically left nothing to her except for this life list. Basically saying it's a series of challenges for her to go through her childhood list of dreams and check off everything on that list so that she can find out what the final end goal is. And it's basically her trying to rediscover her love for the things that she once had before everything went to shit. And along the way, she also kind of builds a romance with the executor of that will. So yeah, I don't know if I would watch this for the romance, but in terms of the emotional stuff, yeah. Through my window. I have so many thoughts. So many thoughts. It goes in one of these bottom 3 tiers. Is it jail? It's not jail. I'm going to put it in I question many things. Because I don't know that it was never meant for me. But there are so many things that occurred in this film the first time I watched it. Like, there's a moment where I'm like, is this a romance or is this a slasher fic? Because the way the color grading is going and the way he's approaching her, I feel like he's about to, like, stab her in the woods and just leave her for dead. So, yeah. I don't really know how to describe this. It is a Spanish film, as far as I know. It is following a girl who is, like, I guess another, like, meek outcast, who lives next to this family of, like, rich boys, and I think she's kind of always had a crush on him, and he's kind of never paid attention to her, and his family has a lot of money, and then they psych up this, like, relationship that's super toxic and questionable, and then there's a scene of him pleasuring her in the same bed that they're sharing with his, yeah, I've actually never gone on to watch the sequels, but if you think so, let me know, because if you want me to rank them, I'll go about and do it. Always Be My Maybe. I've slid up to Does the Job. I don't remember too much about this movie other than 2 iconic comedians star in it. So I don't know if you're watching for romance so much as you're watching for comedy. But yeah, if you're looking like Friends to Lovers, Second Chance, It's Always Been You, go for that. A Family Affair. Is it right to put it? Okay, like, I can't put it in the same level as they do. I'm going to put it in I question many things. It's an age gap romance. Nicole Kidman really liked to engage in an age gap romance the last few years. Following this girl who is the assistant to this terrible boss of a celebrity, and she finally has it one day, and she quits on him, and he comes to see her at her house only to discover her mother there, and he and the mother hit it off, and she does everything in her power to break up that relationship. And I don't know, I don't have a lot of feelings about this movie other than it's just like every time you're watching it, it's just like, well, that was a choice. That was something that happened on my screen. Whoo! All the bright places. All the bright places. I can never watch this film again. It pissed me off and destroyed me in the most epic of ways. It is based on a book. It is following these 2 people who meet on a bridge as they are both deciding whether or not to unalive themselves, and their romance that ensues from there. It is awfully sad. I wanted a happy ending. I did not get a happy ending, and I will leave it at that. But if you're looking for emotional damage, feel free. La Dolce Vita. This is a rom-com that came out around like February, March of last year, and it's following this girl who decides to purchase an Italian villa for $1, as one does. So that's sort of the program, and she wants to stay in Italy and fix up the place, and her father's like, what are you doing with your life? What do you mean you just purchased a home in Italy? And he flies in basically to help her, and of course while he's there, romance ensues between him and the mayor of the town, and romance ensues between her and the chef in the town, and you know what? It's good, summery fun time. Somewhat great. The best way to describe why this belongs in emotional damage is this is the Netflix movie that inspired Taylor Swift to write Death by a Thousand Cuts. If that doesn't warrant an emotional damage card, I don't know what else does. You are following this girl who just got broken up with her long-term boyfriend, and she's not doing so well. So she kind of spends the entire day seeking him out, trying to get tickets to this music place, venue, concert that they would always go to every year, and sort of the emotional breakdown of her coming to terms with the end of their relationship. So is it romantic? I don't know, but there is side romance that goes on, so yeah. The Perfect Date. I question many things, Noah Centineo. Noah had a good run in a lot of romance movies there. The Perfect Date essentially is a high school rom-com following Noah Centineo's character who joins an online app where basically girls can sign up to get like a fake boyfriend. And yeah, and he agrees to be the fake date for one of his family friends, daughters, and then the romance that ensues from there. Yeah, there's a lot of things that happen that I'm just like, you know, why? A perfect pairing. A perfect pairing. You know what? Solid iconic no-nos. I don't know what this man's name is, this Aussie man, but for some reason I think I just have a strong attraction to him. Either that or his voice. But if he appears in a movie like Falling in Love or Perfect Pairing, I'm like, solid. This is following a woman who's, renowned for her sommelier skills. She works for a very, highly rated like wine import company, and she basically, after getting her idea stolen, decides to leave this company and get out on her own, start her own company. So in order to do this, she is trying her best to win this deal with a winery in New Zealand, or Australia, I can't remember, with this notoriously solo entrepreneur, does not work with anyone woman. And while she is there, she's like, well, you know what, I will do anything. So she agrees to fill in and work on the ranch for a couple weeks, and of course romance ensues between her and the lead ranch hand. I'm not quite sure what his title is. Warm Bodies. I've almost forgot that this movie existed. Yeah, zombie romance. Anyone else? Anyone else? This is a movie that takes place during the zombie apocalypse between a girl who gets stuck on the outside of the safety barrier and the zombie who decides to save her. And basically her bringing him back to life. And that's all I'll say. It's weird, it's quirky, but she's fun. The kissing booth. Oh, this was never meant for me. This was never meant for me. I feel just like with a family. I'm sorry, Joey King. I'm so sorry. I have never once in my life had an attraction to Jacob Elordi. I don't understand the hype. It was never for me. It just no. I don't even know if I need to describe it because I feel like it's such a well-known movie in the romance sphere of the last decade. But you're following this girl who has matured, and you know what, she's kind of always had a crush on her best friend's older brother, but he has never seen her until one awkward incident at the first day of school, where he kind of sees her in a new light. And then one day when she and her best friend put on this kissing booth for the carnival, her best friend's brother decides, I'm gonna kiss her, and that leads to a lot of things. Yeah, it's kind of like a train wreck that you can't look away from. So yeah, just go with it. We needed an Adam Sandler movie. He does have some very, very well-loved rom-coms. The man knows what he's doing when it comes to comedy. I don't know if you watch him a lot for the romance. I've never seen 50 First Dates. That's why this one is on here. Just Go With It is a movie following a dentist and his office assistant agreeing to a fake marriage, or pretending to be married or together in order for him to get with someone else or to get a promotion. I'm not 100% sure, actually. Can't remember a whole lot. And I know she was solid. Friends with Benefits. Oh, let's see. Where do you go? Solid, iconic, no notes. I like a good Friends with Benefits trope. The whole title of the movie is the entire plot of the movie. I don't know how else to describe it, other than it's between Mila Kunis and Justin Timberlake, and I feel like there have been a lot of discussion around those two recently, or in the past few years, so it really is up to you. Then we're going to end on a high note. The Guernsey Literary and Potato Pie Society. This is a historical post-World War II romance following this author who no one seems to want to read her actual work unless it's something like fluffy, who moves to this small town to meet the one man who wrote her, saying that he loved her book that wasn't just like a, fun advice column book. And while she's there, she begins a romance with him, but also getting ingratiated into the Guernsey Literary and Potato Pie Society, and you learn how that society came to be. My only question about this movie, it is post World War II. This is a spoiler. One of the women in the past the reason that he has custody of this child now. She fell in love with a Nazi soldier who I guess was not all terrible per the movie. I'd have to go rewatch it, and had this kid. And that's why she got chased off the island. And I'm like, fair, fair, fair. Obviously, the kid didn't have any control over his parentage, but she had some control over falling in love with a Nazi or not. So, you know what? Yeah. But that's the end of it. On the bright side, we didn't have a lot in the bottom 3 tiers. However, I feel like I'm going to get some flack for some of the ones that I have put in the bottom 3 tiers. And then a lot of these tiers up here are movies that I still love. It's just that they needed to be separated into their basic, base level categories, especially those emotional damage ones, because I don't want to send y'all in and not prepare y'all for these movies saying, bring the tissues, prepare to have your heart broken the second you open those movies. But yeah, now remember, this is just my opinion on the movies that I have seen based on the things that I like and the preferences I have. I'm sure y'all have a list of your favorite iconic romance movies, as well as a list of romance movies that you're like, I need to see you watch these, or I need to see you rank them in the following version of this, probably in a year. I can already think of more as I was doing this that I need to add to next year's list. So please do leave that in the comments down below. And I guess happy Valentine's Day, and I will see y'all in the next one.